The basement window mark. My name is Mark Miller. This whole nightmare started 2 years ago, late in the autumn, when I found a house listed on Craigslist. At 26, working remotely as a senior software engineer for a tech firm based out of Seattle, I was desperate for my own space. Up until then, I had been living in a cramped downtown studio apartment where the walls were paper thin. I could hear my neighbors' phone conversations, their footsteps, even the hum of their refrigerator. It drove my anxiety through the roof. So when I stumbled upon a 2-story, 1970s craftsman-style home tucked away in a heavily wooded sector of King County about 40 minutes outside the city, it felt like I had hit the lottery. The rent was ridiculously cheap, $1,000 to $100 a month, which is practically unheard of in Western Washington. The property sat on nearly an acre of land, completely enveloped by dense, towering Douglas firs, weeping cedar trees, and thick, overgrown pine thickets. The nearest neighbor was over 200 yards away, tucked behind a wall of green foliage. You couldn't even see their roofline from my front porch. The landlord was an eccentric, reclusive woman in her 60s named Margaret. She didn't even meet me in person to sign the lease. She insisted on handling everything through the mail. She shipped me the keys in a padded envelope along with a typed lease agreement and a hand-scrawled sticky note stuck to the front page. *send rent electronically on the 1st of every month. The basement has old, damaged foundation piping. Do not open the nailed-shut wooden door in the far back corner. I scoffed when I read it. I was a 6'1" guy, healthy, athletic, and living on my own since I was 18. I didn't care about some old, dusty basement or broken plumbing. For a guy who spent 10 to 12 hours a day writing code in complete silence, this house was an absolute haven. The isolation felt like luxury. During the daytime, I'd sit at my desk, looking out over the misty woods, feeling like I'd finally made it. But at night, after burning my eyes out staring at code on my dark mode screens, the silence of those woods became deafening. To kill the quiet, I did what almost every single guy my age does. I opened Tinder. That's how I met Sarah. Sarah was 24, working in corporate communications for a major retail brand headquartered downtown. She was sharp, witty, wildly ambitious, and possessed a vibrant, contagious energy that instantly cut through my guarded, introverted nature. We clicked on our very first date at a microbrewery in Capitol Hill. Within a month, she was driving her Civic out to my place almost every Friday after work to spend the entire weekend with me. We'd build bonfires in the stone pit out in the backyard, drink local IPAs, listen to the autumn wind howling through the fir trees, and revel in the sheer privacy of the property. For the first time in my adult life, I felt genuinely happy. But by mid-October, the mood around the house began to shift in ways I couldn't quite explain. It started with small, subtle things. I'd come home from running errands in town and notice a chair in the dining room had been shifted an inch to the left. I'd find a kitchen window unlocked when I was dead certain I'd latched it before leaving. I chalked it up to my own brain playing tricks on me, absent-mindedness brought on by long hours at work. Then came the Friday night that changed everything. Sarah and I were sitting on the living room sofa around 11 o'clock p. watching a horror movie with the ambient lights dimmed low. Out of nowhere, Sarah went completely rigid beside me. Her entire body tensed up. I looked over, and her face had drained of all color. She was staring intently out the floor-to-ceiling glass patio doors that faced the pitch-black woods behind the yard. Mark. She whispered. Her voice was trembling so violently that the wine in her glass was sloshing over the rim, staining her jeans. Are you sure there's nobody out there? Babe, the yard is massive and the neighbors are hundreds of yards away. I said softly, wrapping my arm around her shoulder to calm her down. It's just the wind blowing through the branches. No, she breathed, her eyes wide with a cold, primal terror that gave me instant goosebumps. Asterisk, I just saw a silhouette standing right behind that large pine tree near the patio brickwork. He didn't move. He was just standing there in the dark, looking right through the glass at us sitting on this couch. Asterisk, I grabbed my high-lumen tactical flashlight from the kitchen counter, picked up a heavy flashlight mag light as a weapon, and unlocked the sliding glass door. The crisp, biting autumn air hit my face. The yard was dead silent, save for the dry leaves skittering across the lawn. I clicked the tactical light on, throwing a 2,000 lumen beam into the tree line, sweeping it across the thick trunks, the bushes, the perimeter fence. There was nothing. Just empty trees and swaying branches. I came back inside, locked the sliding door, pulled the thick blackout curtain shut, and locked every window in the house. I sat Sarah down, poured her a fresh drink, and spent the next hour convincing her that her eyes were playing tricks on her, that she was just hypersensitized because of the horror movie we were watching. That was my first fatal mistake. The arrogant, blind assumption of a guy who thought he had everything under control just because he was physically larger than whatever might be lurking in the dark. By early November, the subtle oddities vanished, replaced by blatant, terrifying red flags that hit us like a freight train. The first major red flag happened on a Tuesday afternoon. Sarah was at her own apartment downtown when she received a direct message on Instagram from a blank, private burner account with 0 posts and 0 followers. It contained a single photograph, a side profile shot of Sarah sleeping soundly in my bed, taken from outside through a tiny 2-inch crack in the bedroom window blinds. The caption below the photo read, asterisk, your IT boyfriend leaves the blinds open. He can't protect you. Asterisk, Sarah spiraled into a full-blown panic attack. She called me sobbing hysterically, convinced that someone was following her from her office or tracking her Uber rides. I was furious, my chest burned with a mix of fear and rage, but my logical, analytical brain betrayed me again. I naively convinced myself it was just a localized internet creep or an aggressive ex trying to play mind games with her online. I told her to block the account, report it to Instagram, and I promised to keep the blinds tightly shut and double-locked every single night. The second red flag was the neighbor, David. David introduced himself to me a few days later as the new tenant renting a dilapidated, rundown cabin further down the gravel access road, past the eastern edge of the woods. He looked to be in his mid-30s, always dressed in meticulously ironed flannel shirts, wearing thin wire-rimmed glasses. He had a soft-spoken, overly polite mannerism that oozed a quiet, academic charm. He claimed he was a freelance researcher writing a book on regional history. But David was too polite, and he appeared far too conveniently. Every single time I pulled into my driveway after running errands, David would just happen to be taking a stroll past my property line. When I went to the local supermarket 5 miles away on a random Thursday afternoon, I ran into him in the parking lot. He seemed to possess an unnatural, terrifying awareness of my daily routine. Asterisk, nitro cold brew, no sugar, right, Mark? Asterisk, David said smoothly one morning, leaning casually against my mailbox as I walked down the driveway to grab the mail. He held out a paper cup from a local specialty coffee shop I frequented. I blinked, caught completely off guard. Asterisk, thanks. But how did you know that's what I drink? Asterisk, David laughed a warm, perfectly practiced, hollow sound. Asterisk, oh, tech guys always run on cold brew. Lucky guess, neighbor. Asterisk, it wasn't a guess. And then there was the way he interacted with Sarah. Whenever she was over on the weekends and David happened to drop by to ask for a borrow tool or inquire about property lines, his eyes would lock onto her. Behind those thin glass lenses was an intense, unsettling hunger. He'd ask her overly specific, probing questions. Asterisk, what time do you usually take your Uber back to the city on Sunday nights? Asterisk, or asterisk, does your high-rise in Capitol Hill have an active night security guard on duty? Asterisk, David was crafting a harmless, intellectual persona to lower our guard. In reality, he was meticulously harvesting data. And I, in my oblivious, headstrong confidence, just wrote him off as an awkward, socially clumsy guy who didn't know how to interact with women. Then came Halloween night. A massive Pacific Northwest windstorm slammed into King County, knocking down power lines and plunging the entire rural grid into pitch darkness. The storm raged outside, howling through the Douglas firs and driving heavy rain against the cedar siding. The power was dead. Sarah and I lit scented candles in the upstairs master bedroom and tried to make the best of it, listening to the rain on the roof. By 2 o'clock, the wind was deafening, but around 2:30 a distinct sound cut right through the roar of the storm. It didn't come from the roof, and it didn't come from the front porch. It came from *** directly beneath our floorboards, *** right under the bed. *clack, clack, clack. A rhythmic, deliberate tapping against the raw subfloor wood, followed immediately by the sickening, wet sound of fingernails dragging across lumber. Sarah gasped, seizing my forearm so tightly her nails drew blood. We both sat frozen in the candlelight, staring down at the hardwood floor between our feet. I pulled my arm away, grabbed my tactical flashlight, and retrieved a heavy Louisville Slugger baseball bat from the closet. My heart was pounding like a sledgehammer against my ribs. I told Sarah to lock the bedroom door behind me, stay on the bed, and not open it under any circumstances until I returned. I crept down the dark hallway, down the main stairs, and opened the door to the basement. The basement had always been cold, but as I stepped onto the concrete stairs, the air felt like a meat locker. As I hit the bottom step, a foul, heavy odor hit my nostrils, a repulsive mixture of damp earth, stale food, sweat, and the unmistakable, sweet scent of Sarah's Chanel No. 5 perfume. My stomach dropped into a bottomless abyss. I raised the flashlight beam, cutting through the shadows toward the dark, for a corner of the basement toward the nailed-shut wooden door Margaret had warned me about in her note. The rusty nails had been pulled out from the wood frame, bent and lying on the dusty floor. The heavy wooden door was hanging wide open. I approached with the bat raised, pushing the door further open with the tip of the wood. The hinges shrieked in the dark. There were no leaking pipes inside. The space behind the door was a wide, low-ceilinged crawlspace running directly beneath the main structure of the house, built over raw dirt. As the beam of my flashlight swept across the claustrophobic space, my heart stopped dead in my chest. The concrete support pillars and wooden joists were covered, draped from edge to edge, in hundreds of printed photographs. Photos of me working at my dual monitor desk. Photos of Sarah stepping out of the shower. Photos of us eating dinner, watching TV, and sleeping side by side in bed. On the dirt floor lay a filthy, flattened sleeping bag, surrounded by half-eaten cans of food, bottled water, and dozens of snapped, discarded SIM cards. On a small plastic folding table sat a battery-powered portable monitor. It was displaying for live, night vision video feeds coming from ** for pinhole cameras ** hidden inside the house above, one hidden inside a fake wall outlet in the living room, one inside the bathroom ceiling vent, one in the kitchen, and one mounted directly inside the ceiling fan above my bed, pointing straight down at our pillows. And in the far corner of the crawlspace floor was a hand-dug, dirt-reinforced tunnel. It stretched down through the foundation wall, leading off into the dark earth outside, heading directly through the woods toward David's cabin property. David had never lived in that cabin. He had been living ** under my floorboards ** for the entire 4 months I had rented the house. He crawled through that dirt tunnel every single night while we slept. He sat in the dark inches beneath our bed, listening to our breathing, learning our schedules, monitoring our lives through the floorboards. He knew my coffee order because he heard me say it in the kitchen. He read Sarah's text messages in real time because the high-definition camera above our bed zoomed in on her phone screen while she lusted over social media. He didn't just want to stalk us. He had been studying me. He was preparing to eliminate me and take my place. A surge of pure, icy panic flooded my veins. Right then, from the floor directly above my head, I heard a violent asterisk crack asterisk. The sound of the upstairs bedroom door being kicked off its hinges. A second later, Sarah's blood-curdling scream echoed down through the house, a raw, horrified shriek that was violently cut off mid-breath. Asterisk S-A-R-A-H. Asterisk, I roared, dropping the flashlight and the bat, lunging up the basement stairs 3 at a time. I slammed into the master bedroom. The wooden door frame was splintered. Cold rain and wind were pouring in through the shattered double windows. The bedsheets were torn off, a lamp lay smashed on the floor, and Sarah was gone. I threw myself out the broken window, dropping onto the muddy grass below. I ran through the pouring rain, shining my phone light frantically across the property. All I saw were deep, fresh tire tracks from a heavy SUV tearing through the mud, skidding onto the dark gravel road before disappearing into the howling storm. Sheriff's deputies flooded the property within 20 minutes after my frantic 911 call. King County investigators brought in K-9 units and discovered the complete network of tunnels running underneath the property lines. When heavily armed SWAT officers raided David's cabin down the road, they found a ghost town. The cabin was completely unfurnished, save for a single desktop computer running on a gas generator in the middle of the living room floor. The lead investigator called me over to the front porch of the cabin, his flashlight trembling slightly in his grip. Asterisk, son. You need to see this. Asterisk, I stepped up to the monitor. It was displaying a private, encrypted live stream. The camera angle was from inside a windowless, concrete room lit by a single bare bulb hanging from the ceiling. Bound to a heavy wooden chair in the center of the frame was Sarah. Her wrists were zip-tied, duct tape covered her mouth, and her eyes were wide with unadulterated terror. Sitting on a folding chair right beside her was David. He was wearing his neatly ironed flannel shirt, his wire-rimmed glasses catching the harsh light of the bulb. He looked straight into the camera lens, offered a calm, polite, neighborly smile, and held up a yellow legal pad with a handwritten note, asterisk, thank you for paying the rent these past 4 months. Mark. She belongs to me now. Asterisk, that nightmare occurred nearly 2 years ago. The FBI launched a massive, multi-state manhunt for David. They found Sarah 3 days later, locked inside a windowless, abandoned self-storage unit across the state line in rural Oregon. She was physically unharmed, but the psychological trauma had completely shattered her. She dropped out of her career, moved back to California to live with her parents under constant psychiatric care, and eventually cut off all contact with me. The shared horror was simply too unbearable for either of us to look at. As for me, I abandoned every single thing I owned in that Craftsman house. I packed 2 suitcases, bought a one-way ticket, and moved over 2,000 miles away to Chicago. I rented a luxury high-rise apartment on the 35th floor in the heart of the city. No basement, no crawl spaces, no woods, 24/7 uniformed doormen, biometric keycard elevators, and security cameras covering every square inch of the hallways. For nearly 2 years, I genuinely believed I was safe up here in the sky. I thought altitude and concrete had bought me my life back. Until last night. I was sitting on my sofa around 2 o'clock aimlessly scrolling through Tinder, trying to force myself to feel like a normal human being again. A notification flashed across the top of my phone screen. A new match. I glanced at the distance tag beneath the profile. It read, asterisk, asterisk, 0 miles away. Asterisk, asterisk, my thumb hovered over the screen, trembling violently. I opened the chat window. There was no name, no profile picture, and no bio. Just a single image attachment sent directly to my inbox. I tapped the image to open it. It was a crisp, high-resolution photo taken from directly above, showing the top of my head as I sat on my living room sofa. The angle came straight from the white metal grate of the *** central AC intake vent mounted in my high-rise ceiling ***. A fraction of a second later, a 3-second audio message arrived in the chat. I pressed play with a shaking hand. David's soft, polite, soft-spoken voice filled the quiet apartment, accompanied by a faint, metallic scraping sound echoing from the ductwork directly above my head. * ceiling vents in Chicago ... are a lot bigger than you think, Mark.